Hello, hello, hello. This is Scrapping Like a Lady. My allergies have kicked up like no other. They are so freaking bad today. So I'm be snotting and everything in y'all ear today. So baby, you're gonna have to slow down now. Oh, you come down the street, you saw me backing out. My God, did y'all see her? Crazy. Anyways, let me start off by saying something important today. So last night I was doing some of my diamond art, and I was going to bring you guys with, but I really wanted to watch something on YouTube, and I don't know why, but I'm always fascinated with prison life and what goes on in there, and why they're there and what got them to that point. So I love hearing the stories, death row, all of that. I'm morbid, I know, but I was re-watching something that I had watched previous, and this reporter from England came over, and he was talking to the inmates and the inmates on death row and stuff like that. And they were saying all we have is time. And I know some of you might disagree. You're like, okay, to hell with them. They did the crime. They deserve to be where they're at and all of this kind of stuff. Okay, that's fine. And I agree with that. But even still, they're still human beings. So although they're paying for their crime, my thought is that they're there with, okay, oh my gosh, all these ducklings are in the street. So all the cars are waiting for the ducklings to cross. Y'all better get y'all butt out of the street. Oh, great. So now one wants to walk in the wrong direction. Oh, good Lord. Those are the cute little mallard ducks. We have a big old pond over here. So wouldn't it be awesome to take diamond art to the prisons? You've got your mothers in there in the women prison. You got your men in there, of course, in the men prison. But I thought, wow, that would be something that's really nice to pass the time, because some of them have TVs, some of them do not. But I mean, I don't know what they would use for their diamond art pen, because maybe some of them would make a shank with it or something like that. Maybe you could make a thimble with a little tip on the end of it, made out of some type of like silicone. Ooh, I think I just thought of something good, y'all. Yeah, and then they could do it, they'd have to be a very soft presser, or it might be a little firmer silicone as opposed to a squishier silicone. And then they could do diamond art with like a thimble. Hell, we should invent something like that and do it for our dang on selves. I'm gonna have to bring that up to my husband. His brother is an intellectual property attorney. Maybe I can get a patent on that. Oop, I done said it out loud. Somebody gonna do it before I do it. But anyways, I just think that would be such a blessing. This one girl, she had reported her boyfriend beating her up all the time. They had plenty of police reports about him kicking her butt. So she got pregnant and she got sick of his crap. So she stabbed him twice. Like, get off of me, in self-defense, she says, but she stabbed him, and he didn't die or anything, just, stabbed him in the arm. But they threw her in jail for, what was it? I don't know what length of time it was. But now she's got an assault charge and this, that, and the other, carrying on and the other. And I thought, I was listening to her talk, and, my heart went out to her, because I was just like, the hell with that. I'd have shanked him. I'd have stabbed him, and I'm a sweet person. But no, you ain't gonna hit up on me and expect me not to retaliate. No, we ain't doing all of that. So, don't know. Some of the people that are in jail, maybe I got a soft heart. I don't know. But my heart goes out to the people that are in prisons, even with their children and stuff like that, drop off gifts and stuff like that. I don't have a problem with that. I used to do that. I didn't do it this year, but I used to do that. All you gotta do is buy some gifts. You're right there in the dang on store, buy some gifts and drop it off in the Walmart thing. Hobby Lobby had one for, children as well, It ain't the children's fault that their mom and dad are locked up, so let's bless those babies. So anyways, I'm going away over there, but I'm still talking about prison life, so it's all good, right? But, and then when they get out, they're in those halfway houses and stuff like that, trying to stay clean or whatever. We know that diamond art, for me, let me just speak on what it does for me, the therapy that it gives me, the release, I should say, that it gives me. Because when you're doing or dealing with the public, you've got a lot of personalities that you're dealing with. You got a lot of spirits roaming around you. And just like when people are in the military and they go to a war zone and they need to decompress, when they get home, they actually they go to a facility and they have to, make sure that they are all good before they put them back out there, So with the general population, it's the same thing when you're working with the public and you're dealing with people, I had one lady come in and she's like, oh, Lisa, my marionettes are really, really bad, and I'm like, okay, so that means you're losing your the elasticity of the skin is giving, but you need some filler put in here that lifts the skin, right? And she was like, okay, well, a syringe is expensive, a filler. Well, this lady needed like 4 syringes, but she only bought 1 syringe because, again, they're expensive. And so she's like, well, I can still see that. Well, baby girl, you're still going to see that. You got to spend more money to get better results, So, but there is numerous things that we can do, but they all cost money. Well, she didn't want to spend any money. Not real money. So it's like, you have to deal with that. Like, I need more. Give me more for less and all of this kind of stuff, and I have to buy it and it's expensive, so, and then somebody got to pay the rent to keep the facility open, and somebody got to pay themselves to be there, and my skills are not for free. And on and on and on, So when I do diamond art, people, it takes me away. It's like reading. It takes you away from your current situation, environment, and people. And that's what it does. I am able to sit there and think about nothing if I choose to, or I can diamond art and in the background I am listening to something, or I am watching something intermittently, kind of looking up, watching something and learning something on YouTube. So for me, it's a great release. There's a lot of anger and frustration, hostility, all of those good fine words that those people have, a lot of tension. Hey, diamond art would relieve a lot of that. So I don't know how I'm gonna go about it. I know that there's a lot of ministries that are prison ministries. So I need to seek out, one of my girlfriend is in ministry. And so she might be able to help me with that. In fact, I'm gonna put a call into her, Ebony. So yeah, I need to do that because life is about making a difference. and not just being selfish and making a difference only in your own life. You know, what did I hear? They were talking about a psychopath, and they gave a good definition of a psychopath. And I thought, well, hell, everybody has psychosis every once in a while, you know. I mean, it is what it is. We're talking about the mind. So we all have periods where we're just there, you know. We just have cray thoughts, you know, even if it's just a little blink of a thought, like, ooh, I like to slap her backwards, you know. It's like, that ain't sane, because if you do that, you're going to get an assault charge, you know. But some people, they let that psychosis take over, and next thing you know, they're acting on it, you know. So I guess that's why they have that show Snapped, you know, because there's been plenty of times where people have snapped or have wanted to snap. But don't you guys think that's a good idea? Leave me some comments and tell me, or maybe you know how I could go about it, you know. But that's something that needs to be explored. I mean, they are sitting there day in, day out. Like when I watched the death row ones, and this black guy had killed 2 elderly women at the age of 13. Him and his friend wanted to go to the fair, and they knocked on the door because they wanted to mow these people's lawns, and the people didn't want their services, and they wound up killing these 2 elderly women at 13 years old. Now, we know that the mind is not fully developed or mature at 13. Hell, they were just 12 the year before, you know, in 6th grade, you know. So they were just children. So their thoughts are not like an adult thinking person, a sane adult thinking person, you know. So now this man was like 47 years old or something, and he had amassed such, he was just an intellectual. The guy was asking him about the books and that he had read, you know, and he had all these books in his cell and stuff like that. He was on death row. I'm like, how could y'all put that baby on death row? Sure, what he did was unspeakable. It was heinous, you know, but surely a 13-year-old can be rehabilitated unless he's just pure evil. And if you think about it, back in the 70s, you know, when this man was, you know, criminally charged for, you know, what they did. Let's just face it, back then, honey, if you were black, you were going to be thrown under the cell for doing something wrong. Your sentences are longer for African Americans. It's statistically proven, you know, that if a Caucasian does a crime and a black does a crime, we all know the black person is going to be thrown under the bus, you know. So it is what it is. So I forget where he was from, but if he was from like Mississippi, Alabama, or one of those southern states, come on, y'all, let's be real. Y'all know that boy did not get a fair trial. And even if he did get a fair trial, death row for a 13-year-old is just cray-cray. Nowadays, you wouldn't even hear about that. What 13-year-old is on death row? None. So, but all that to say, y'all know I get a little passionate about what I talk about. So I just think that's preposterous, you know. So should he spend the rest of his life in jail? That's up for debate. Could he have been rehabilitated? In my opinion, he seemed to be rehabilitated, you know. So general population, you know, where they just are going to be in prison, but they are with the other people. 23 hours in a cell for a 13-year-old. I don't know how he made it. Yeah. So he said the books are his escape. And just to listen to his word choices, he has highly educated himself. Because, yeah, sister over here was struggling like, what does that mean? But I don't know. My heart goes out. Now, let me say this. When my son, Richard, we wanted him to come home one time. He was like 16 years old. And he was in Washington with his dad. And he was like, no, I can't do that because I have friends up here that they don't have parents. They have nowhere to go, yada, yada, yada. So my husband and I talked about it, and we were like, okay, it was 2 boys. We were like, okay, just bring your friends home. We have a 6-bedroom house, you know. We've got plenty of room for, you know, wayward children, right? So my son came home with his 2 friends, and one of the boys, we would do Bible study. And they didn't even show up with clothes. So we went shopping and we spent like $900 on clothing and everything like that, right? And my husband had just lost his job. We didn't even have income coming in the house. And that, I mean, we have really big hearts. I mean, honestly, even telling the story, I'm like, wow, you know, but my husband had just lost his job. All the kids came in, and so we had a house full. There was Kim, Richard, Cameron, Logan. Those are my 4. And Miguel and what was that other boy's name? It'll come to me in a minute. Y'all know I'm about to turn 52. So, I can't think of his name. So they come in. We take them shopping. We spent $900 on clothes and food and everything like that. We would have Bible study every Friday night, you know, trying to make sure that the kids were balanced and letting them know our house rules, which they broke on a continual basis. Just, you know, staying out past curfew, smoking pot, you know, just everything. So the one boy, Miguel, could not read, and we would take turns reading. And so I said to him, I said, baby, it is okay. We will struggle through it together. You know, Miguel just won my heart over with, I guess, wanting to change, you know. Well, it got so that they wanted to go back because it was boring at our house. We live in the suburbs. There's no gang and, you know, activities or drugs and none of this stuff that these kids were used to, you know. So, like, go play basketball. Go do something constructive, you know. I helped Miguel to get a job. He was so happy about that, you know. But still, they grew. The one boy, God, I can't remember that baby name. He wanted to go back home. And so he told Miguel, come with me. So Miguel went with him, and we let them go back home. You know, you're not hostages. We let them go back home to Washington. And I told Miguel, if you go, the Holy Spirit is telling me that you're going to wind up in jail. And he looked at me eye to eye and just kind of shook his head like, man, you know. And in a way, I knew he didn't want to go because he knew I was telling the truth. So he goes home, and of course, you know how the story goes. He winds up going to jail. They said that a person was shot and killed, and they said Miguel did it. In the hood, you have to take the fall, basically, because you can't say, no, I didn't do it, so-and-so did it. No, they will kill you for that. No. Snitches get stitches, as they say, you know, or a lot more than that. 6 feet under. So Miguel is in prison, and as far as I know, he said that he was actually going to get out. But he and I used to write each other. And he thanked me for introducing him to the Heavenly Father, because at first he was like, I don't believe in God, yada, yada, yada. But he he totally turned around, and his letters were with scripture and all of this stuff, which I thought was beautiful. You know, he was in solitary confinement at one point. So I was decluttering. I found all these letters that I had kept in the little high cabinet that I have, anyways. And I put it in my memory box upstairs in my scrapbooking room because I want to keep those letters. If you read the letters, they're very compassionate. I mean, you could feel his heart, you know. You could feel his spirit calling out and accepting the Lord, and just the change that had come over his mind, you know. So I don't know. I mean, you guys know my son has been to jail numerous times, you know, but he only did like 30 days here, 30 days there in a county jail. He's never been to prison, you know. Although I'm not sure, he don't need to do a stint. Maybe that would turn him around, right? Give him like a 3 months or 6 months or something like that. But prison is a hard life. It's a hard life up in there, you know. So I wouldn't wish it on anybody, but somebody's it might be good for, you know. Some people need a little something in their life. You know, the one lady, she said that's what turned her around. She's like, I went to rehab several times, but when I went to jail, to prison, she said, that's what turned me around. And I was like, And she don't even look like the type that has been in jail. I don't know that there's a type, but, you know, she didn't look hard, you know. I wouldn't last. Let me just tell you, I would not last because, one, I don't like being confined. I don't like a lot of noise around me, you know. And it's noisy in there, you know. So it sounds like a lot of confusion. And anyways, I would not last. But I thought that was a good topic to talk about today. And I think that it would be a blessing. I know some of the prisons actually have where the prisoners are allowed to keep their babies with them. They have a whole section over there, you know. And I know it's all controversy. Everybody feels a certain kind of way about this, that, and the other, you know. But hell, what don't people disagree about? I mean, really, we can't even agree if green is green, you know. But I have to go up in here and make a difference here in Texas. We're expecting bad weather starting tonight. So I'm going to go in here, take care of my patient, get my little ugly self right to the house. Diamond dotting, deuces.